Okay, last week we talked about approach shots. This week I'd like to talk about what you're going to need when you get to the net. You're going to need a solid, consistent volley. Now, the number one mistake that I see players make, and this goes from the 2.0 level to the tour level, they get too wristy on the volley. Okay? Many times, you know, at the lower level, at the 2.0, 2.5, you'll see players trying to come over the top of the ball like this. So you'll see that little wrist flick. And that's easy for me as a coach to see that. As soon as I see that, I know they're going to be inconsistent volleyers. Now, at the higher levels, when you get up to the 4.0s and higher, they start to chop this way with the wrist. Okay? Now, you know, they're thinking, well, I'm going to put a little underspin on the ball, which is good because it will give you it'll give you more control. However, if you're using the wrist too much, this is going to cause errors. You're going to sail the ball long, you're going to pop the ball up sometimes. So the key thing for volleys, number one, you have to learn not to be so wristy. Okay, so instead of, you know, if you want to put underspin on the ball, instead of doing a chop with the wrist, you don't want to use the wrist as the hinge. You know, just like a door has a hinge, the hinge on your swing is not going to be the wrist. The hinge is going to be the shoulder. So if you're moving, you know, high to low to put a little underspin on the ball, see, my wrist is not moving. You can see the difference here. That swing I'm doing here is from the shoulder. It's a high to low swing from the shoulder, but I'm not doing this. You know, as soon as you see this, you're going to see, again, inconsistencies. Okay, so the other thing is, you know, players are doing more with their upper bodies. You know, they're thinking wrist or this wrist, come over it, or, you know, slice it a little bit. The volley is more about footwork and balance. Rod Laver, one of the greatest players of all time, he won the Grand Slam in a calendar year twice, 1962 and 1969. He won all four of the majors. And he made the statement, you volley with your feet and your legs. Your feet and your legs. It's not an upper body. So you've got to, you know, if you have to move forward on a volley, you've got to move your feet and you've got to be balanced. So move, you know, setting up, moving forward, getting in a balanced position is related to your feet and your legs, not the upper body. The upper body, you want no wrist movement, very, very little if you do it at all. Some of the top pros will get away with it a little bit, but it's very, very minor. So the number one thing you want to think is, you know, short back swing and then a short forward swing. You can use a little high to low swing to impart a little underspin, which will give you more control. But the hinge, remember, the hinge is the shoulder. A short little back swing, step in, that's all it is right there. Just look at the difference between this or this. You know, as soon as you see this or this, you're going to see mistakes. Okay, so the 2 points you might want to concentrate on, very simple. I like to say fixed wrist, because I don't want to say firm wrist, because sometimes people will get a death grip on the racket. You don't need that. You don't need a death grip. On a scale of 1 to 10, you might be at a 5 or a 6, firming up a little bit when you hit, but just say fixed wrist. So when you swing, it's fixed. Fixed. It's not flicking or chopping, okay? That's key. That's going to really help your volleys. Okay, guys, remember when you're out practicing, you really want to focus on the 1 or 2 points. Okay, remember, for consistent volleys, you want the wrist fixed. So that's going to be key. That's going to be my first keyword, fixed. And then I'm going to use shoulder as the hinge. Remember, this is the hinge. The shoulder's the hinge, not the wrist. You're not going to be flicking. Okay, so those are the 2 points. Fixed, shoulder as the hinge. All right, here we go. Notice at this point the backswing is short. This is also one of the keys to a good volley. This is the moment that counts. At the contact point, if your wrist is in the process of flicking under or trying to flick over, you're not going to be consistent with your volleys. This is when you really need to focus on a fixed wrist. Notice on this high volley how the shoulder is the hinge throughout the whole swing. Okay, if you want to get a little more control on your volley, you might want to swing high to low to impart a little backspin, underspin, or slice, whatever you want to call it, to the ball. So I might be thinking fixed, high to low slightly, because I'm trying to get that little bit of control that comes from that spin. When I say high to low, you don't have to start a lot higher than the ball on the volley, just a little bit higher, so you're getting that high to low swing. This is the high point of the backswing. The racket and ball are on the same level at this point, but this ball is dropping. So you'll see in the next frame that the contact point is slightly lower than where I am right now with the racket. This is a little bit higher. If you see the racket's up a little bit higher than waist level, in the next shot you'll see the contact point is around waist level. That imparts the backspin. At the contact point, you can see here this is slightly lower than that high point there on the backswing. This is going to impart the underspin. Then on the other hand, if you want to hit a flatter volley, if you want to really stick your volley, you might want to think across the tabletop. So just imagine your hand is on the top of a table and you're just going to slide your hand right across that tabletop. That's going to give you a flatter volley, a little more pace on the ball. Okay, so I'm thinking fixed and slide the hand across the tabletop. At this point, the hand is on the top of the table. I'm simply going to slide it across the tabletop, straight across. Remember, it's important to focus on those 1 or 2 points. You're really going to burn that signal in the brain. Work hard and it's going to pay off. You'll get the results. Okay, I'm concentrating on fixed and shoulder as the hinge. Fixed and shoulder as the hinge. That's the key. Now if you want a little more spin, you're going to think fixed, high to low slightly. Give you a little more control. Fixed and high to low. See, I'm coming under the ball slightly to give myself a little more control, especially if you wanted to hit a short angle. You want to come under it a little bit. But even if you're going deep, the underspin gives you that control. And if you want to hit the flat one, cross the tabletop. Fixed, cross the tabletop. There it is. See, You're getting a flatter volley when you go across the table. Okay, on the backhand, same principles apply. Fixed wrist, and we're going to think shoulder as the hinge. All right, I'm focusing on fixed and shoulder as the hinge. Here we go. If you want to get a little more underspin, fixed, a little high to low swing. Okay, this is the high point of the backswing. The racket's up about shoulder height, and at the contact point you're going to see the racket's a little bit higher than waist high. So it's that nice high to low swing imparting the underspin. Fixed and across the tabletop, if you're trying to hit with a little more power, you're going to get a flatter volley. Okay, notice on these two volleys, the hitting hand stays more on the same level, like it's coming across that tabletop. This is going to give you more pop on the volley, more power. If you want more easy to follow tips like these, I'm going to keep them simple like this. 1, maybe 2 points to focus on that are really going to help your technique. Join the Consistent Tennis Wins Academy. I think you'll really enjoy it and benefit from it. All the best.